Hey everybody, how's it going? Superfiend here, and welcome back to Planet Coaster Whacky World. So last time we were working on this little patio area, and so we're going to continue that this episode and see if we can get it decorated and cleaned up. Now I already loaded the game and played with the paths and things a little bit, and then I reloaded it because I wanted to come in with some preloaded knowledge in my brain about how we're going to be able to do this, because I didn't want to spend a bunch of airtime finagling with the paths and scenery elements. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take these two wood pieces and we're just going to cover them up there, because the path I decided is not going to come out of here. It's actually going to come out of here and join up this way. We are also going to go into this building here, and we're just going to shuffle these things over here, and right now they're going to be in the way of the path. They're going to block the path. Whoops. They're going to block the path, but we're going to adjust the queue for this ride, and we're going to build this platform out a little bit more. I think that's what we're going to do. And then we're going to take our cannons, and so the cannons are going to kind of come right over here, and maybe we'll turn it this way now. Okay. And then we're going to take this, move it over here. All right, so we're going to have to clean this up at some point. And now going back over to this here, I want to join it up over here, and I want to join it up over here. And we also want to make sure that we're going to be able to put our shop buildings in here, and the restrooms are going to go over here is what we're going to try to do. So let's take our paths, and let's get rid of that. And we can get, don't have to do anything up there. And I think all of this part along the building here, I think all of this is going to go away, and the building's going to get shoved back and not go right up against the walkway here, is what I think will happen. So, oh, and as long as we're doing this, let's just be consistent and fill in the floor there, because we had taken those pieces out to make room for the path that was coming out right there, which I don't think we're going to be using anymore. And what works best, I found, is because remember, we had to lift the terrain up in order to get these benches under here. Now, we could go ahead and like push the terrain down over in here and just keep it up where the benches are. In fact, what happens if we do that? I don't even know. Let's do flatten the surface. This I didn't try. Okay, yeah, see, it doesn't even want to, because now the path is on this terrain now, whereas before the terrain was floating and we lifted the terrain, the path was floating and we couldn't lift the terrain up to put down these benches because the path prevents it. So the path is on the terrain, so we have to work with the terrain where it is. So let's just backpedal and undo that. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to take a smaller brush and lower intensity, and we're just going to smooth. And we're just going to kind of push this stuff down. Okay. I wish there was a way to like turn off the collision or the molding of the terrain to the pathways in the game. I don't think there is. Yeah, they don't have a disable collision or disable. You know, the fact that the terrain either wants to be stuck to the path, or if the path is already there, then the terrain doesn't want to collide with the path. I wish we could modify that, because then these things would be really easy. We could have just kept the floating path the way we had it, raised the terrain up just a little bit, just enough to get the benches. But then that might create technical problems, like if it's a floating path and then the bench, are they going to be able to like get over to the bench? I don't know. So maybe that's one of the reasons why you can't do things like that in this game. Weird technical things show up when you try to do things like that as a programmer. I'm aware of them because I am a programmer. All right. So, and we're going to smooth this area out over here. Okay. And that's going to enable us to get the restrooms in here. And then we want to smooth this also. Around the edge here. Now, we're also going to need to push this stuff back a little bit. I'm going to try smoothing it first and see where that gets us. But I think we're going to have to push it back a little bit further with the chisel. Yeah, so let's start chiseling. Do a low strength, and we'll just kind of come along the top here. And just bring it just over until it starts to like deform along the pathway. And then we'll smooth it out. And that might be enough to get this done the way I'd hoped to. And so what we can do to check is we just pop in here to the building editor, and you can pick any building, it doesn't matter which one it is, and just lower it down, and we see that we get a pretty good path. It's a little goofy up here where it meets the plaza or the courtyard or whatever you want to call that, the food court. But overall, it's passable. And let's see, this one, that one's still a little too goofy. So let's go back into the terrain. And where's our chisel? And let's chisel just a little bit more like down in here, make it a little steeper. And then we'll smooth again more along the top. And I have a feeling it's kind of like, if you can see it, this hard edge right in here that's messing with the path. I think that's what causes it, but it will be minor and you won't really be able to see it overall. And we could even replace it with steps. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so it gets a little goofy here. And, you know, we could put steps in here, like stone steps, and that would work. We may go back and do that at some point. Okay, we'll take the, whatever that was, I think a Mystic Cow or an information booth. And then over here, let's make sure that we're going to be able to put our restrooms down. Actually, we will just set the restrooms down. So let's see, we want to do 2 meter. We want as much granularity as possible with the placement of this. And so that one, I think, intersects with the ride. So okay, let's oh my goodness. Okay, normally shift would put it on the terrain, but I guess it's making it flat with the wall that's sunk in. I'm not sure. We're going to lift it up, and we're just going to put 2 restrooms like that. And then now moving the 2 of them together will actually be a little bit easier. You see now that we're able to get these half increments, 2 meter increments of movement, whereas before, if I duplicate this one, it wouldn't let me place it so that the edge was here and here, even though we got the 2 meter movement on it. It won't let me do it. But for some reason, when you get 2 pieces instead, suddenly it will let you do that kind of stuff a little bit easier. So little trick there. If you're having trouble doing that kind of stuff, just duplicate whatever it is and move 2 of them. So we could sink the restrooms down into here. Part of me thinks they're kind of sunk in too far. You know, maybe we want to lift them up just a little bit. But no, we'll go ahead and let's see. You know, we're gonna try them like that, okay? And I'm just trying to think now. So what would we have to do with this building? Oh, see, now we get the corner of this is seeping into there. So maybe that's not what we want. Let's undo. Maybe this is better. Maybe this is better because it brings it pretty much right up to the edge of this building. And all we need to take away is this stuff right there. So maybe I like that better. Maybe I like that better. And I think I kind of want to leave this little gap here. Maybe what we'll do is we'll extend this out just a little bit right here and make it look like they're kind of joined up even though they're not. Okay, so that's where the restrooms are going to go. I think we're going to have those there. And now let's work on the paths. Oh, when I did the undo earlier, it must have undone those 2 wall pieces down there. Okay. Now, kind of sucks. I don't really know if we need the wall down there anymore, because with the terrain working the way it is, let's see if we can flatten the foundation around the edges here. I don't think it's going to let us. Yeah. So if we want to keep this illusion of this platform, then what we need is we need to extend the platform out this way, kind of like we've done over here. So let's see. Now we're going to be able to flatten this one down and still get a good path here. I don't know. Okay, so we're going to try it like that. And then now let's just smooth it a little bit right here. Okay. And so now I guess I'm trying to decide, do I actually want this path? Do we actually want this path this way? And of course, the other thing we could do is we could always, because the building is separate from the path, but I was going to say we could shift the building over a little bit, but then it creates a problem with these platforms. Or does it? No, I suppose it doesn't. What's wrong with going this way? I'm not sure. Okay, because it's almost like it would be nice if this was not right up against the edge. But then what does that do over here? Then it starts to encroach on this side. So I don't think we want to do that. I think we want to leave it where it was. Did these things become detached now? Let's see. Are those things attached to the pathway anymore? I can't tell now. Let's see. Delete that. Delete that. Okay. So we kind of got to figure this out. And then another way we could fix it too is we could like redraw this segment of path. We could even make it a little bit narrower. Although I don't want to. I think that would look kind of silly if it was more narrow. Let's connect these up here, and then we'll worry about that other stuff. So let's go back to the terrain, and let's smooth here. Okay, smooth all this out, and let's go to our path, and we're gonna do. We could go down to 6 meters here, but 8 meters will be okay too. I don't really know that we need an 8-meter walkway going into our food court. Now there's 2 ways we could do it. We could do it like this, holding control so that it doesn't connect up, and then connecting it with Z, holding, you know, if we don't hold Z we get this, if we hold Z we get this offshoot. And the offshoot is kind of nice. The offshoot's kind of nice because look at what it creates over here with the other stuff. And it kind of widens this path. It widens this, and then depending on how we draw this queue, it creates, let's just go ahead and do it right now so we can see what it looks like. If you want to talk about park strategy and path strategy, it creates this extra wide offshoot. So the only people that are going to come through here are the ones that are interested in going on this ride or the ones that are interested in going in this food court. The rest of them will just continue on this way. And so if they want to go on this ride and they can't afford it or something like that, it creates this little buffer space off the main path where they can, they get confused and they mill about over here. But that'll keep them out of the main pathway. It's kind of the same idea as what we did over here, where you create this little area where they can all bunch up and be confused over here, but they won't impede the movement of guests that actually know where they're going and what they're doing. So that's kind of nice. It's kind of nice that it does that. And then as far as the guests that have to walk this way, they'll happily walk around and then make a U-turn to get in here if they want to use the restroom or stuff like that. So I kind of like that. And then if we go back the other way of doing it is just connecting it up like this. So if we connected it up like this, and then you have to draw this in, and then, this one ends up connecting like that. And then you end up with these 2, let's just do it so we can see what it looks like. Then you end up with this. And that, to me, that just kind of looks funky to have like 2 paths going like this. And then so what you end up with is you end up with two sources where people could be piling out of here into the main path. And so I think it looks more cohesive if we do it the way it was the first time. Okay, now if we redo it, it's going to take us back to that. So maybe what I like is this one. Okay, don't do that now. Don't do that now. Okay, let's see. Okay, so maybe what I like is kind of this idea. Okay, and you get that nice shoot up into here. Okay, and that's kind of neat actually, and I think we're going to kind of keep that. And then what we'll do now is we'll go back into the path and we'll just use this one. And now we'll undo that little segment, and then we can draw this the rest of the way. So, and then by going all the way back, let's see, what can we do? Okay, that's a little too ugly. What happens if we change it to 6? It's doing like a weird, yeah, it's doing kind of like a weird thing right in here. But does it really look that weird? Let's undo it. Let's change it down to 4 and see how that looks. Or maybe 5. Let's see. Yeah, that looks ugly. And then so 4 is probably not going to be very good either. Yeah. Okay, so 6 was kind of okay. Are we okay with that? I don't know if we're okay with that. Undo. And let's see. Let's decrease the length of this thing. Okay, it seems that if it's at 6, it wants to connect up no matter what. And let's get our angle snap on. See, I don't like this weird. Okay, that looks more gradual to me. That looks better. I don't like this because then it's got two different grades of steepness in it, and it just looks awkward, and I don't like it. But as it turns out, if we lay this piece flat, let's try. What happens if we go to 6? It looks like it wants to. It looks like it wants to connect it and keep a gradual decline. I'm kind of okay with that. What about 8? What's 8 look like? 8 looks okay. Okay, so maybe we'll do that. And that actually, that doesn't look so bad. And again, problem with the path here. If we try to pull it up around here, it doesn't want to. I wish we could close this up with path because, or with terrain, because then we could just lift it up and make it look like they're completely connected, and that would be advantageous in certain areas of your parks. But can't do it. Okay, so I kind of like the way that looks, and I don't want to work on this because the focus of this episode is over here. This stuff. So we got that one sorted out. Now this one over here, there's really nothing going on, so we can just kind of connect it as simply as possible. Kind of with a curving shape, I think, is what I want to do. Okay. Oh, and look, we can even do this. What's this look like? That looks ugly. Forget it. That looked ugly. Okay, now this one over here, when I was experimenting with it, if we do an 8 meter wide, it just doesn't work at all. Okay. So with this one, I dropped it down to 6. And then it kind of worked okay. So let's see. Maybe if we bump this back up to 3. See, now it kind of connects okay. Oh, and then get rid of the angle snap so we can really kind of get a nice curve. So that is a pretty good curve. You know, it's almost got a consistent curvature, or it's fairly gradual. The only thing I don't like about it right now is this weird texture or contour. So let's see if we can clean that up just a little bit. by smoothing. Smooth, 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 smooth a little more. And actually the problem is kind of because it dips down. So if we just lift it up just a little bit, it's going to be real gradual. Okay. And then if we just smooth really quick down it. Okay, now let's see what happens when we try this path. Yeah, it almost kind of looks the same, doesn't it? Okay, so that's how that one's going to connect up. It looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. It's a little weird. I wish there was a way to like say that we wanted to connect this point to that point with a gradual decline. That would require some extra flexibility out of the path tools that we just don't have right now in the current game. Okay, so now this is uncharted territory. So let's see what happens when we move this stuff out, right? So let's see. Let's get rid of all of these. And what's going on? We got, oh yeah, there's this one in there that we added. There's a few in the back. Guess we can get rid of those, right? Nobody can see them. And okay, we got the corners. So this is one way we could do this, right? And we could do something clever to fix this corner here. So what would be clever? We could split that off. And now it's its own building, so we can rotate it. And let's see. What's this piece doing there? And so what would we do? We could take this and rotate it a little bit this way. Okay, so we could do something like that, and we need to turn it. It's really got to be 45. I probably should have just done it with the angle snap, but it's okay. We can kind of eyeball it. Okay, so if we do that, and then we take this building and we duplicate it. And then if we put some sort of like end cap or column piece here and there, it'll help hide this imperfection. So we could do that, right? And let's go ahead to get the graphics to stop bugging out on us. We'll go ahead and sync this one down, and we'll sync this one down. Oops. Okay, and then as we zoom out, it doesn't go nuts on us. So that's one way we could tackle that issue. And we could kind of do that over here. And if we did it from like here, say straight across to there. But I think I want to put an entertainment point in here because I want to make sure that guests use all of this space if we can. So let's edit this building and let's see what it would look like if we added an entertainment point. And that is, where is that added in here? Oh, there it is. Okay. And let's okay, let's do the same. Oh, we can't because of the path. Okay. Let's just put it over here. All right. And now we're able to get the half increments of movement. Okay. So one of these looks like it's lower than the other. Oh, no, it's just not drawing the path is what it is. Okay. So, you know, one thing we could do, let's see. Oh, that's weird. It draws the path, but then they go underground. Odd. But, anyways, the point is if we take entertainment points Let's see. Okay, I don't think it's going to let us put that. Terrain too uneven. So we could put an entertainment point here. Okay, and let's just lift the whole building up and see what it looks like. Now we can't see. Okay. What about if we edit the building and just pick these two pieces and move them over there? So, okay, that's weird. It didn't connect paths. Okay, so let's see. We got more work to do on these, right? Okay, so we got to even out the terrain here a little bit where these things are. So we'll smooth. And so what we need is we need the pathway to kind of come down. And we could avoid all of these problems if I put the entertainment points at the same elevation as the path. But I want to sink them down a little bit because I don't want them to be visible. I want to hide them inside some scenery. So let's see if we can do this. Okay, so the one on the left is okay, and it connected up to the path. So then we can get rid of this guy, right? We'll just delete that. And I suppose we'll delete that little piece. That's weird, because it is floating. Let's see. And then as soon as we do it, it doesn't want to let us... as soon as we don't have two of them, it doesn't want to let us move them around the way that we were. Okay. So that's what we're going to do. And then we can take these two pieces and we can put them back. Okay. And what we'll be able to do is we'll be able to cover this up and hide it a little bit. I'm not exactly sure how we'll do it, but we'll hide it. And the guests won't be able to see that it's there. But the entertainer should still go over by it, and the guests might still go over by it. They might be drawn to it. And that might help all of this square get used. And then the other thing we could do to hide the fact that there's a path in here is, can we redraw this? Oops, I don't want that. We could have turned off like the railing and stuff when we built this, but I think we're going to just leave it how it is. I'm not going to be that much of a perfectionist with this fiddly detail, okay? And now let's go ahead and start decorating and making this thing look like a food court. But I want to see if I can kind of clean this up a little bit. We can't. It's not going to let us do anything with the terrain here because of the paths, which kind of sucks. I wish we could push this down a little bit further, but that's okay. And this over here. This over here. We could knock out like these two and make an angled connection over here. Because I just don't know if I like how this is so close to the walkway. I just don't think it looks right. It doesn't give us the ability to put any trees or plants or bushes or anything in there. I just kind of don't like it. Let's fix that. Let's fix that. So we can get rid of this. We can get rid of that. We'll take all of these and we'll split them off from the building. And now we can turn it this way. And I think we can get rid of this one down here. I don't think it's going to be seen. And we'll rotate. I hate when I get the wrong arrow there. Okay. We're going to need 2 more pieces right there. Okay, and we're going to lower it down just a little bit to fix the graphical glitch. There we go. And let's see. We can't push. Okay, so this one we actually get a problem if we push it down too far. The terrain pokes through the top. So what does that look like as we zoom out? That looks okay. We can kind of keep that. And we can put some plants and bushes here, and it will help cover up this terrain. Because again, we can't do anything with this terrain. It's just not going to let us because of the path system. Okay. Okie dokie. Now, over here, we can do some stuff. Let's take these. How far out do we want to extend this? And we'll take these two, and we'll split them off. And then we'll drop them down just a wee bit. Okay. And actually, before we do that, okay, they're still part of this building. Before we do that, let's get these pieces. Put them underneath. Underneath. Okay. Now let's get all these pieces and split. And then we can move them over and down ever so slightly, just a little bit, so that they're not so glitchy. Okay, that looks pretty good. And then, let's see. I think we can take all these pieces and kind of put them in here. But it looks like we only need 2 of them. Okay. There. I wanted to get that board that was here had the planks going this way. I wanted to get it uniform with everything else. And it was a little tricky to do it. Okay, and then now, okay. Again, trying to move one piece by itself, it doesn't want to obey that 2 meter grid sections. But when you get 2 of them, it just, for some reason, it suddenly starts to work. And let's just do 2 more below. There. And we'll draw that going into the water there. Straight into the terrain and the water. Okay, so now that looks like it's part of the foundation. And I think for these, and we also, a long time ago, I noticed, but I haven't done anything about it. We have a giant floating dock here, and we have the same problem on this side. And so we'll need to go ahead and put some supports underneath there to fix that. And whatever supports we put is probably what we're going to be putting under here. But I want to kind of focus on decorating the top here. And so what we're going to do is we might go ahead and get rid of all this railing. Yeah, we kind of have to, because we can't have like people walking through rails to sit down, right? So let's go back to the path system. And let's turn off railing on ground path. Select grid. I want to get the grid from the path, not the terrain. Okay, so before we do that, let's edit this. Let's take these 2 pieces and let's move them. Actually, these pieces might be better. We'll move them. Now we can get the grid from the actual path right there. And no railing. That one's obstructed, huh? And that's obstructed. Ah, the stupid terrain. And that's obstructed because of terrain. Oh, boy. Never-ending nightmare. That's obstructed. Okay. And let's see. These ones will forever be obstructed. God. Okay, if we start flattening the foundation, it might clean it up enough around some of these edges to get in there and get rid of them. So we're going to try that first. Go back to paths, select grid. There. Oh, son of a gun. So now it's this path here that's causing the issue. So now we got to go and we got to delete this path again. And why do I show all this, all the tedious work of doing this and not make it a time lapse? So that if you're struggling with these same issues, you can kind of see how you have to work through them. Frustrating. Very frustrating fighting with this. It should not be this difficult to do these kinds of things. Why is that obstructed? Is it the bench? No, it can't be the bench because they didn't have a problem over here. Why is it obstructed? Okay, but if I delete it and then create it, then it's fine. So if I delete this, okay, those two are obstructed. So let's go back to the terrain and get everything all screwed up again. Obstructed by what? Okay, I think it's all better now. Not certain. Okay. So now let's go ahead, go back to terrain. We'll flatten the foundation and push it all back as much as the game will allow us to. Okay. And then over here, let's see, this is kind of a mess. And then this was a 6 meter, I think. Okay, so let's see, it was about here. Okay, for this one, I'd like the rails, please. There. And for this one, can we get it? This one should be 8. And can we get this to just connect in here nicely? Oh, we had it. We had it for a second. Let's turn on angle snap. Maybe that'll help. There. Okay, we kind of got it back. And then terrain and push. Push it a little bit more here if we can. Yeah, it's not letting us do much, is it? Okay, and over here, oh, I didn't want that. And now we can put these guys back there, and now we can redraw this path. Hopefully we can redraw it. I don't know. We might have an issue, so let's see. Turn the railing off. Okay, what are we missing? We're missing the curb. Curb on ground path. There. And then we can still get that. Okay, so now we're kind of back to where we were. God, that was tedious. That was tedious. And now this whole area just looks like they can walk and blunder around anywhere, which is kind of how I wanted it to look. And And we don't have the railing going into this thing that you can really see that well. Once we cover this up and we kind of hide things, you won't be able to tell that this thing is even in there, probably. What I'd like to do, though, is I'd like to take all of this scenery, and I'm going to move it over here, because this is what I was looking for. We got a spot where we couldn't create it. Okay. And then now let's go over to this building and just move these pieces. Okay. And we got to go back to our paths, select grid, and let's see if we can get this piece. Terrain too uneven. Okay, so no. Edit the building, move just this. Okay, let's get this thing out of here now. Son of a gun. All right, and then paths, terrain, and let's see, we'll just go back to paths, select grid, get our wood. I don't want the curb. Okay. And now let's go back to terrain and go back this way. Flatten it. And now let's smooth it again. And let's see if we can put these things back. And this time the railing's not even on, so good. And let's go ahead and select all of this. And put that back. And then we'll go over to this building. And we'll put these back where they were. And then we'll go back to our terrain tool, flatten the foundation, and just uncover as much of this brickwork as we can. Okay, this turned out to be very difficult just to get the paths and the restrooms and this stuff here, but I think now this is more in line with what I wanted. And really quick, let's just go ahead and put some artificial fencing. So we're going to take all this stuff again, and we'll take all of this stuff, not the restroom. Okay, we don't want to get the restroom stuff, and we're just going to move it over here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put down some fencing. And we'll just do this kind of quick. I think we can do this kind of quick. And then this will be kind of the last thing that we do this episode to get this area. Now, because this is like docks and near the open water, I think that the rope fence works better than, say, the stockade fence with the poles. And they can walk up here, can't they? But I don't really think they will. No, let's go reset orientation, angle snap. Okay, and so what we'll do is we'll get this like that, and then we'll rotate it this way. And because this is pretty much a straight up grid fence, this will be pretty easy. And duplicate that. Let's see. Well, it would normally go here. And we kind of can't see. Oh, great. This nonsense. All right, we kind of can't see exactly where the corner is, but it would be like right about here. And now it's going to become part of this other building. Yeah, I don't like that. So here's a trick. Okay, this is what we can do. We can take this piece. Oops, I lied. Okay, we take this. Doesn't want to work with two of them. Wrong button. All right, we're going to take this. We're going to duplicate it. We're going to spin it. And we're going to position it like this. Okay. And then we'll take this rope, that rope, and this piece, and we'll duplicate them. And now it just follows the grid, okay? And then we can delete that. and we can delete that there. Now it's pretty much lined up perfect where it should have been. And then to get the piece over here, now we don't have to do those pieces. All right, so now we're going to do this one. Go this way, and we'll have to clean this up when we put the shops in here, and then they get paths. We'll have to fix that, and we'll figure something out for it. But for now, we'll just kind of do this, and then we'll go about half, and then we'll move this one to like right there. Doesn't have to be perfect. I don't need it to be perfect. And I don't think we need paths or fences here because no one's going to like walk headlong into a table. You wouldn't do that in real life anyways. Okay. And I'm also noticing that all of these ones look like they're kind of sunk too low into the ground. They should be up higher like that. Okay. Do these ones have that same problem? They don't. Interesting. Okay, so we cruise these this way. And these ones pretty much make it all the way over here perfectly. And we'll duplicate this. And shoot it along this way. Okay. And, oh, we got to do along this edge, right? And there we go. Just about perfect. And emphasis on just about. Okay. So now we can take all of this. Except now I'm not sure about that stupid entertainment point again. Is it going to work? Is it going to be connected? I mean, does this count as connected, or is it not connected now? Let's go to the paths. Let's see if we can okay, break that. Let's go to 4 meters. All right, good enough. Okay, what do we think of that? Not too shabby, and we should probably take this. We don't want anybody climbing over here and stumbling into the water. You know, little kids and whatnot. Kind of stuff they do. And we'll go ahead and put one over here too. And then we'll just stretch it along all the way here. And then should we do these two? Should we repeat them over here? I kind of feel like we should. And we might take them away later, but let's go ahead and drag these ones back this way. Okay. Now, I think that is pretty much what I was trying to accomplish with this. And then what we want to do probably in the next episode is I want to add some market-looking things in here. So maybe what we'll do is we'll be putting like the cargo stuff and the fruit stuff. We'll put some barrels. We'll put some pirates in here if we can find any that look like they could act as vendors, and a couple of those little tents, the posts with the tents on top. And we'll probably do some of that along here. And then so it'll look like they come in and they eat, and you get this little market going on. And we'll selectively take away some of these rope fences when we do that. That'll probably be in the next episode. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time, and have yourself a good afternoon. Let's zoom in here.